Good morning, everyone. Lots going on as usual. Today is Monday, November 24th, 2025, and there's no urgency to speak to Trump on trade. And Carney is conflating when he gets pushed on it. He gets upset. And when we're starting here, so I'm jumping the gun on this one a little bit, but he gets upset and starts talking about how we're so busy and, he doesn't care about talking with Trump. He'll talk to him when it matters. And so being very disrespectful, in my opinion, and not solving the problem, making it worse. And everything, I've got a whole bunch of Carney clips. We're going to start on trade. He talks about trade with India, and everything that he's outlining is kind of opposite of what we should be doing. He talks about trade. He says 75% of the world's population is outside of the United States. So we should really focus on that. And that's the future of trade. I'm not even kidding. I wish I was kidding, because like 75% of the world's population also lives an ocean away. The United States, which is 25% of the world's population, that's a damn big customer base, lives right next door. Right next door. We're going to ignore them. We're going to ignore them. They've got MAGA stuff on their house, and they're putting up an American flag. Holy cow, we've got to ignore those people. So we're going to deal with India. India. Remember like what happened with India 10 seconds ago? Like India. Yeah. Okay. Right. That doesn't make any sense at all. What? So we've got to deal with all of that. But all of the clips that I've got of Carney are of him being rude, disrespectful, denigrating to the United States, and talking about how we can either pay ourselves better than the United States could possibly pay us, or we can find replacement customers in Europe. Nope. Not going to happen. Not even close. Trade with India has turned a corner, but they haven't given a reason why. So all of a sudden, India is a trusted trading partner, but the United States, whoa, hold on a second. 75% of the Canadian economy relies on the United States. Right meow. Like, come on. Are you kidding me? And he's like, screw the United States. We don't need them. All right. That's super weird. In the United Kingdom, a lady was charged for not keeping up with her TV license. You have to have a TV license if you have a TV. If you don't have a TV license and you have a TV, you get charged like a big fine and stuff, right? So this lady got charged a big fine because she wasn't living at her house and she didn't have her TV license. She was living with her son in the hospital, and her son had a traumatic brain injury or something like that. And they're still going to go after this woman. But UK lawmakers are shielded from having their criminal records exposed to taxpayers. Ha! So two-tier Kier strikes again. Ukrainian rebuttal. So the plan for Ukraine was released by the United States and Russia, and the rebuttal came from NATO and EU HQ. And basically it said, you better give us everything we want or there will never be peace. And so they're holding Ukraine hostage, and Trump is trying to negotiate the release of Ukraine. Big data breach of CPC MP's financial records. How did that happen? How did that happen indeed? I don't know. It seems like... if I were to guess, did the Liberals have any access to these financial records? It was MP's financial records. So like, I have questions, right? So anyway, there's lots to get to. Let's get to it first. We've got to start with trade. This is Carney speaking in French. And he says this a lot, that we're very, very busy. Oh, we're so busy. We couldn't possibly take time out of our busy schedule to talk to the biggest trading partner and 75% responsible for 75% of our trade. We've got other things to do. And so here he's speaking in French, but Mark Carney literally said, Canada is woke, Europe is woke, and the UK is woke. So we should just trade with other woke countries that respect LGBTQ. 76% of our exports go to the United States. And this guy says woke compatibility matters more. What is happening to this country? So here he's speaking in French. I'm going to mute him until he's no longer speaking in French. I'm just going to say what he's saying. The words are on the screen. It's translated from French to English. The French that he's using is very basic French, in my opinion. Anyway, there are some complex things he says, but he gets kind of caught up a little bit. And then there's another clip a little bit later, and we'll get to it, where he randomly starts speaking in French, then mixing English and French, then saying words that I don't think are either. And then he apologizes for jumping into French for no reason, and then continues in English. And the whole thing is just really strange. It seems like he's using the French to avoid answering questions. Anyway, here's Mark Carney, and me pretending to be Mark Carney because it's in French and dubbed. So this is me dubbing Mark Carney. He says, we are very busy. That's the truth. We are very busy. There's a budget. There is a lot to do in Canada. Okay. And we work together with investments in Canada and new partnerships. We can give much more than the Americans can remove of our country. And this, I said, that several times that Madam did you hear this sentence of a variant of this sentence several times? But this is the strategy being, we implement forgiveness. We are implementing this strategy now. Then we are busy. It's not all the United States all the time. Okay. Now here, again, 75% of the world's population, 2/3 of the world's GDP. Here, it's the game. Now, it's the G20 he's at. It's the G20 that he's at. So he's talking about Africa and European leaders and G20. So here, it's the game now. And the game of the future. When was the last time you spoke to the president? And as you diversify trade away from the United States, what's your red line? Like when you, in terms of dealing with other countries, what are the conditions where you won't do business with another country, no matter how much money it has at stake? And here
let me answer the second part of that, which is there's levels of engagement with countries. Our partnership with the European Union, for example, is at a level prospectively that is unmatched with other jurisdictions. Because
isn't it exceeded by a lot by the jurisdiction of the United States?
We have similar values in terms of privacy, for example. We have similar values in terms of sustainability. We have similar values in terms of workers' rights. We have similar values, to go to the previous question, in terms of gender equality, LGBTQ rights. And all of that reflects, so the level of economic cooperation, defense cooperation, security cooperation. We have similar views about territorial integrity in Ukraine as well. So,
what about territorial integrity in Canada? What are the views on that, Mr. Carney? Because I'd like to have our borders closed. I'd like to know who's coming here. I'd like to send fake refugees who go to their war-torn homelands on vacation back home and not give them away back here. So what's your opinion on Canada's border sovereignty, sir?
Our level of cooperation with the European Union, with the United Kingdom, is on a different level than our level of cooperation with other countries. So there's that aspect.
Yeah, there's like the United States, which is 75% of our trade or something like that. And there's the UK and the EU, which is not 75% of our trade. So it's a different level, certainly. So is he lying? Is he misrepresenting? Yes.
Other countries in the emerging world where there's levels of cooperation which are more in commodity-based trade, goods and everyday goods and services, but don't extend to those broader partnerships. So all relationships are not equal; they're not of equal depth, and certainly it's not the case. This is an important point. When we engage with a country, Canada engages with a country, that we're endorsing everything that country does. The two do not follow. We calibrate our relationship, but it's not an endorsement of everything that happens in the country, nor vice versa from those countries to us.
What a long, rambling bullshit answer. Melissa says Mark Carney is getting really irritated when asked about President Trump. He was asked when they last spoke, and Carney got irritated as he's been too busy. So if you remember, she asked at the end of this rambling bullshit answer, well, in the middle of this rambling bullshit answer, she asked him, when did you last speak with Donald Trump? And he says, it's not about the United States all the time. And then he talks at length about dealing with other countries, not answering the question, when did you last speak to Donald Trump? So, of course, there's a follow-up. When did you last speak to Donald Trump? And he says, I don't care.
Who cares?
Who cares?
I mean, it's a detail. It's a detail. I spoke to him. I'll speak to him again when it matters. I mean, the sort of, comme j'ai dit, nous sommes très occupés.
We're very busy. We're very, very busy. Hold on. We actually have to listen to more of this speech. The food professor says, when asked about Canada's increasingly idle relationship with the United States, Prime Minister Carney's response, who cares? This is absolutely not the approach we need when 72% of our agri-food exports depend on the U.S. market. Who cares, right? Here is this answer fleshed out a little bit more. I think we're going to listen to the whole 2 minutes. He flips into the French. The French is on the board, or is written on the screen, translated if you're watching. If you're not, I don't think it matters. It's kind of mushy nonsense. He's not saying anything of force. He's just trying to dodge the question. This is a bad liberal tap dance, right? This is the Elaine dance of the liberal tap dance. Very bad at it. Very bad at it. And he ums and ahs through it. So here we go.
Who cares? I mean, it's a detail. It's a detail. I spoke to him. I'll speak to him again when it matters. I mean, the sort of, comme j'ai dit, nous sommes très occupés. Nous sommes très, très occupés.
We're very, very busy. Come
avec l'avenir du Canada. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. Et avec les nouveaux partenariats. Et il y aura des conversations, oui, avec
I don't know what Ilioha is. I don't know, like Ilya, sure, but what is he saying at the end of there? I have no idea. So that's why I said I don't know that he's even saying any words here. He's just grasping at straws.
Le président et moi, probablement dans les prochaines 2 semaines.
Maybe he's saying we're going to meet in the next 2 weeks, and then he switches to English.
But on attend I'm always happy to. Sorry, I slipped into French because I anticipated the en français thing. I look forward to speaking to the president soon, but I don't have a burning issue to speak with the president about right now. When America wants to come back and have the discussions on the trade side, we will have those discussions. I'm going to answer a potential question here, and then I'll pass back, which is, for example, with respect to Ukraine and the 28-point plan.
Pivot. This has nothing to do with the last time he spoke with the U.S. president or trade, which is what they're asking about. He's pivoting to Ukraine. Nothing to do with us. Has nothing to do with us, except that they're stealing our money.
We are a core member of the Coalition of the Willing. You would have seen.
Ukraine's not NATO. At core to this is Ukraine's membership in NATO, and NATO is white knighting all of this. It's ridiculous, and it needs to stop. And pretending that we have some kind of agreement with Ukraine, we don't even meet our NATO commitments. Why are we meeting our Ukraine commitments? These are over and above our NATO commitments. What in the world is going on? It doesn't make any sense, right? And saying, "Oh, hold on, I know you want to talk about trade to the United States, but I want to talk about Ukraine." No, sir. The question was about Canada, not the money you're stealing from Canada to send to Ukraine.
A demonstration of that yesterday with the meeting of European leaders, a core group of European leaders, the Prime Minister of Japan, ourselves, and which formed a common position. And that common position is communicated. Our national security advisors are meeting.
We'll talk about that, but it's a pivot away from what is actually the important question and what is actually being asked of him. Ryan Garrettson says this is unbelievable. Carney gets asked if he's spoken to President Trump yet, and he says, who cares? Then he says he doesn't have a burning issue to speak to him about. There are countless Canadians who are relying on you to speak with him about all of this. This man doesn't care about you. He never did. That was obvious through his entire campaign. It was obvious. John Paul Berg says this is a joke. It is a joke. The joke is unfortunately on us, however. Jason says the U.S. ended talks with Canada after it became clear to them that Canada has zero interest in stemming the flow of drugs and illegal immigrants from our country into theirs. Canada has been compromised, and that's been known in the U.S. since at least the Biden administration, if not as far back as Bush and Obama. Canada was identified as a national security threat under the Biden Democrats and removed from the highest level in intelligence sharing within the Five Eyes, along with New Zealand. A new security alliance titled AUKUS, Australia, UK, US, was created in place of it. Canadians, and I mean, I think the UK is compromised as Canada. Like, have you met Keir Starmer? Like, come on. And Australia, what's his face? Albanese, right? Like, these people are not friends of democracy, right? They're friends of the CCP. They're friends of a globalist New World Order, I think. But I don't think that they're friends of democracy or of Donald Trump. And yet here we stand, right? Weird. Anyway, Canadians are choosing to believe the jilted lover fairy tale that we were always a faithful partner to the United States until they turned on us. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Obama and Biden were publicly friendly with our nation because our governments shared similar political ideologies, and it would serve Democrats well to maintain a diplomatic public-facing posture. Trump does not share those things. So the gloves come off, and the truth was finally revealed. You're not victims, Canadians. You're a prostitute for the dark side. Yes. Andrew says the U.S. cut talks with Canada. We would be fools to pine for their call. We should deal with the drug issues. We should deal with the issues that they are saying these are the issues that are preventing us from having a trade deal because 75% of our economy relies on it. And if they shrug and say, okay, well, I guess the trade deal's done because you guys are stupid, that's going to be painful for Canada. It's going to be painful. And I want to be wrong. I'd be very happy if I was wrong, right? But it seems like we are stupidly going into this negotiation. We hold no cards, and yet we're acting like we have a royal flush. And the person who we're playing, they actually have a royal flush. And they're slow playing it. They're letting us get all of our money in the middle. And they're laughing at us because they know that we barely, if we had to pair, we'd have been all in already. We're all in already. Sam Cooper is responding to this. His own thing, stonewalled. RCMP reject a U.S. bid to target cartel Indo-Canadian trucking routes as cocaine and meth surged north, according to the Bureau. And Sam Cooper says, months before Wedding 2.0 indictment, the Bureau revealed Toronto, Canada's federal police stonewalled a U.S. government request 6 years ago to jointly investigate a surge of Canadian commercial trucks traveling into the southern United States to pick up staggering amounts of cocaine and methamphetamine from Mexican cartels and drive it back into Canada for consumption and onward shipments overseas, a U.S. official told the Bureau. So it seems like there's a lot of money in this, in drugs, and it seems like the fact that it's illegal makes there be more money, and no regulation and like all sorts of problems stem from this dark industry and people like this black industry, right? Like, you're not supposed to do this, bad people, right? And then people do it anyway though, right? And so like, I don't know what the answer is. I'm not saying like we should legalize drugs in order to regulate drugs. That's what they tried with marijuana. And I mean, fundamentally, marijuana is a plant. So that's difficult to regulate a plant, but I digress. And I mean, have you seen the process for making cocaine? Making cocaine is insane. Like the process for making cocaine involves, I saw a GIF of it one time, and it's like you put the coca leaves in gasoline in order to, there's all sorts of processes, and it's done in the jungle. I'll see if I can if I can find it and post it. It's really, really interesting. But fundamentally, like, I feel like there's more problems being caused by this industry being driven underground than there would be if this industry was just like Tylenol, right? Like, or marijuana is in Canada. But maybe that's a bigger problem. I don't know. It's not a problem for me, but other people seem to have a big problem with it. So it just seems like we are allowing these industries to get super duper rich and to buy off law enforcement and governments and basically take over law enforcement and governments. And we're happy because the drugs are still illegal. And like, that doesn't really stop all of the crime around it, right? And it's weird. It's weird because it's clearly not working what we're doing, but we're going to keep doing it anyway because we're lazy. Is it laziness? I don't know. Here's Mark Carney. I don't think it's laziness, but I think that it's a bad, like, it's like somebody trying to lose weight. Instead of saying, okay, I'm trying to lose weight. On Monday, I ate this, but I was really, really hungry and I woke up starving overnight. And so instead of trying to lose weight, I'm just going to, eat everything again, right? Like, you lose your ability to, you lose your willpower to continue. And so you just go back to what you usually do because what you tried didn't work. Instead of iterating to say, okay, this didn't work, but that's one way that's not going to work. I maybe need to eat more. Or this didn't work, but maybe the problem was my attempt and not the overall goal, right? Whereas we are saying, okay, well, this didn't work, so we might as well not do anything. And it seems like we're going to keep doing this. And I don't know if it's laziness or learned helplessness or what, but it's a bad strategy, and we should have people who can iterate faster or at all, because it doesn't seem like we're doing anything like that. Here's Mark Carney again. He says he met with Andrew Holmes at the G20 summit today and affirmed Canada's ongoing support for relief efforts as Jamaicans recover from the devastating impact of Hurricane Melissa. Our partnership in trade and security is going strong. We're working together to make it even stronger. So Canada's in like a super amount of debt, and I don't wish bad things on the Jamaican people. I hope they're able to rebuild. I haven't seen anything from Melissa. I saw how bad it was. Like, it was black on the hurricane things, but I haven't seen like, oh my gosh, Jamaica's torn off the map. It's gone. It seems like happened and they moved on and everything's fine. So this idea that Canada and indeed the West is supposed to give money every time a natural disaster happens. If people need help and teams to go down, I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem with manpower going down to help in like the tsunami or in catastrophic disasters and things like that. I don't mind. But if we just send billions of dollars blindly down there, that's bad. I don't like that because there's no accountability, zero accountability. It's ridiculous. We're already at 20 minutes. My gosh. Anyway, Carney seems to be, as Gary says, every failed state leader Carney meets, he gives away Canada's money. Haiti, Jamaica, Africa, everybody. Haiti, those people aren't even in Haiti, right? The people who are pretending to run Haiti and representing Haiti, they're just fundraising off of situations like this. I'm pretty sure Barbecue and his other gangs are in charge of Haiti on the ground still. I'm pretty sure, but I don't know for sure, but I think so. And the people who are pretending to run Haiti are a council of 7 or something like that outside of Haiti. So... And I haven't seen any evidence, and if you have some, please do send it my way, and I'll update. But I haven't seen any evidence that the Council of 7 or whoever's being recognized by the people at the G20 are actually physically in Haiti at all. I don't think they have any kind of say. It's like giving Guaido money. Where'd that go? Wealth Moose says, question time. Wasn't this the same Liberal government in the same Canada that sparked an international meltdown over the killing of a Canadian citizen who'd only been naturalized while sitting on an Interpol list? Amazing how fast definitions and outrage can change when it's politically convenient. Mark Carney is announcing Prime Minister Modi and I met at the G20 summit today and launched negotiations for a trade deal that could more than double our trade to $70 billion. India is the world's 5th largest economy. That means big new opportunities for Canadian workers and businesses. Look for Tata Motors to open up any day now. Tata is like one of the biggest business people in India. They own everything. They're like they're like GM, right? Or there's a bigger one. GM's like General Motors, but General, it's on NBC. I can't remember the name of it, but they owned 30 Rock and they kept referencing it. It's like a huge, huge company. If Tata gets access to Canada, that'll be very, very interesting and will further culturally shift our country. So isn't that interesting? So what's happening with India? Weren't people really mad at India recently? Concerned Canadian says, here yet again, overtly offended the USA. Trump could, if he wanted to, crush our country economically within months. What is Carney doing? So here he's asked a question about India, and he doubles down on his earlier statement. Man, I should stop the stream. He doubles down. I just want you to understand that this India thing is a big deal. And he's trying to poke Trump in the eye. Here we go.
Does your government view India as a reliable trading partner?
In terms of trade, yes, we do actually. Yeah, we do. There are issues. Let me frame that, expand just a slight bit, if I may, on that, which is that we have trade issues with the European Union. I described earlier as our closest partner. They have trade issues with us from time to time. Sometimes there will be our dispute settlement mechanisms, or the WTO's dispute settlement mechanism will have to adjudicate on decisions that we have each taken. That's part of the system. So you can be both a reliable trading partner, and there will be some sources of friction. What I will say with respect to India is that we don't have a comprehensive economic partnership agreement with India, one of the world's largest and fastest growing economies. The ability to have more effective trade with them, to scale that trade with them, would be greatly helped by that, and that's one of the many reasons why I'm looking forward to the discussion with Prime Minister Modi this afternoon.
So it's interesting that
Does your government
that all of this is happening within the context of no trade deal with the United States. That's not so good. Alex says the Canadian government's tone towards New Delhi went from stop killing us and get your diplomats out of our country to how much would you like from our pension fund in less than 10 months without any explicit or coherent explanation whatsoever. And so Modi says India and Canada have great potential in strengthening trade and investment linkages. We have set a target of $50 billion by 2030 for our bilateral trade. Canada's pension funds are also showing keen interest in Indian companies. So there you go. Very, very interesting. The quick flip-flop. And this is the last one for the India stuff. This is Stacey says, Carney is asked about the CSIS report warning that Canada must remain vigilant about India and foreign interference. Carney smiles and says he has a security clearance. And so Canada is not a serious country. I agree. This is playing politics and trying to, get Polyev when that's not really productive, right, or helpful. Here we go.
CISA says the threat from India remains and that Canada should remain vigilant because of that. Are you moving too fast on rekindling relations with India? What will you be saying to Modi this afternoon? And when do you plan to go to India?
Okay. With respect to any forms of foreign interference, we have to remain vigilant. We are vigilant. I got my security clearance well in advance.
CISA says the threat...
And it's almost a pivot, right? Like, I'm not going to answer this question. I'm going to pivot away. Mark Nixon says, Mark Carney just slipped up and said the EU is our closest partner. That's a direct slap in the face to Donald Trump, the person who decides Canada's economic fate in the next 6 months. He's not even pretending to negotiate with the United States. If this is the strategy, Canada's finished. Yeah, I think that that's not wrong. I don't think that's far off. So it's, but finished. Does that mean that we will join the United States as the 51st state, or will we join the United States like Guam as like a territory? That's the worst outcome. The Guam territorial, you can hang out and like join in the party of the United States, but you're not part of the cool crowd and you don't get a vote. That would be less good. And I don't know what's going to happen. I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. Economic force was said by Donald Trump, and Carney's come in and given Donald Trump, he had leverage before, but Donald Trump has a much longer leverage stick, and he can wield it at a better point in order to maximize that leverage. And so why would Carney do that? To enrich Brookfield? I thought he worked for Canadians. Weird, right? With that, we've got to say goodbye to the stream. We've got lots more news for the rest of the stream, but I've got to say goodbye. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you want the whole show, head over to CanadaPoly.com. And if not, that's okay. I'll be here tomorrow. And for everybody else, we will carry on to finish the show. Good. Stonehenge says U.S. State Department designates DEI as a violation of human rights. So that's good. That's good. DEI is a violation of human rights. I think it's racist in it's racist against Asians. It's racist against whites. It's racist in its implementation, and affirmative action should never be policy. We should remove affirmative action. We should remove the human rights groups, because it's like unions. They say they're working for the worker, but they're not actually working for the worker. They're working for